Hello, you marauding malt mates from Middleton's, and thank you. Oh, excuse me, I've got something in my eye at the moment. Won't be a minute. We're fine. And thank you to Robin Francis Duffield for that malt mention. So, welcome to the Bothy Whisky fans, malt mates, and basically alcohol fans. We're not talking about volume alcohol that you don't even bother tasting while you're getting drunk in bars. That's not what this channel's about. This is about the high-end stuff. The stuff that we invest good money in the anticipation of solid, interesting, authentic, quality returns, which give us additional engagement and calibre of experience. And that is exactly why I am reviewing this single malt from a small independent bottler. It's a single cask bottling, and throughout 2024, and you'll know it's a 2024 video because I've got my red jacket on. That's how you tell which year it is. I will be reviewing a number of these single cask, small independent bottlings, because I really want you to be more aware of them and just how rewarding they can be to you. So I'm going to pour a wee glass of this and I'll introduce it to you first. Here in Ralphie Review 1019. There we go. From Dramore, it's a 16-year-old single cask Inchfad single malt from Loch Lomond Distillery, just literally south of the banks of Loch Lomond in the west coast of Scotland, in a place called Alexandria. And this is a distillery which for a very long time was considered unimportant, uninspiring, dismissible, and there was good reason for that. There was very little whiskies made available from this distillery that were actually genuinely interesting. So it was easy to overlook it. Then it changes ownership and then things start to shift up a gear, and it's very interesting to see how a distillery can turn its reputation around when it's under new management who are not a corporate, right? So the new owners are in fact an investment trust fund status, and they're probably going to build up the business, get it onto a firm footing and sell it on. And that happens regularly with businesses. There are business that focuses on building up other businesses and selling them on. So in my opinion, this is a golden age for Loch Lomond bottlings, the official bottlings, and also what's made available from the distillery to the independent bottling market in terms of the quality of casks. Inchfad is a peated version of Loch Lomond. And Inchfad, in fact, the name comes from one of the little islands that's dotted about on Loch Lomond, which is Scotland's largest freshwater loch. So it's not a sea loch, it's an inland loch. So what have we got here? 16 years old, natural colour, unchill filtered, rightio. Give me a second. Finished in first fill PX sherry hogshead. So it's a finished whisky in a sherry cask. Now I'm going to come to that shortly, because the finish in the sherry cask has had a really interesting influence on this bottling. Bottled at 53.2%, and this is cask number 1101 for the malt intense of you who really want to know these details. And there was 191 bottles drawn from this cask. There is some additional information about the distillery and the provenance of it on the back label, but I do notice. Excuse me, I've got a misted up steampunker, because the bothy's quite damp at the best of times. So this is what you get, but I don't care, because I just don't. It's fine. And here we go. I'll read it out to you actually. Inchfad single malt 16-year-old, one of many fine spirits created by the ever versatile Loch Lomond distillery. Inchfad takes its name from one of the Loch's many islands, resting a short walk from the loch side in the town of Alexandria. The distillery has placed substance over style, and whilst it may not be the most breathtaking of views or stunning architecture, that's a bit of an understatement. Loch Lomond Distillery looks like a dump. It's a modern looking 1970s prefabricated industrial unit. That's what Loch Lomond is. But it's doing some really, really interesting things. So we've got to get past the superficial appearances. And, excuse me, it's misting up again. But the marriage of rich fruit and smoke in Inchfad speaks for itself. Now, this bottle should be saying on it, natural colour and unchill filtered. It really should be saying that. To not be saying that, in my opinion, is a significant omission and is actually under delivering the messaging of what's been bottled here, because what I'm tasting and what I have been tasting over the last 3-4 weeks is definitely unchill filtered, and it certainly appears to me to be natural colour. But we do need the endorsement, and there's no point in distilleries being pedantic about it and saying, well, hang about, there might have been E150 caramel in the previous cask. No. If a distillery, a bottler, has not actually physically poured a big drop of E150 chemical colorant into their whisky prior to bottling, then technically it is not there. And there you have it. Neat. Wonderfully soft, fudgy, vanilla infused, soft sultana, smoky nose. The sherry is prominent, soft raisins. I did mention sultana, so it's a mixture of sultana and raisins. Raisins are red fruit, sultanas are white fruit. Right, so you get the mixture of two that have been dried and the flavours have condensed and the sweetness in it. The richness is coming through very well. The first thing I'm noticing on the nose is that the first fill PX Sherry Hogshead is doing a very good job, and importantly, it's not imposed a huge sherry overcoat onto the whisky. The connectivity between the two has been very sensitively done, because small independent bottlers are much more proactive, in my opinion, in the way they are preparing their whiskies in the warehouse. It's something that I do myself, so I understand the process involved. So the nose is off to a really good start. First taste, tiny drop. Sweet, salty. It's a saltiness, and sweet and salty. Toffee and fudge arrival with the dried fruit, a little bit of dried apricots in there as well, and then that peat tang that isn't instantly there on the arrival, but develops right at the beginning of the development in the flavour progression. Very interesting. Clean, fresh, great quality. I can almost second guess what's been going on here, and I'm going to share my thoughts with you shortly. I've added 5 millilitres of water with my magic spoon. It's always accurate, because ladles are accurate. And I'll leave this a couple of minutes. We will see just a little bit of Scotch mist start to appear, but not too much. I'd need to add more water, so I will add some additional water in a couple of minutes. So I've added a wee drop of water. You might be interested to know that for my Patreon subscribers in my monthly live stream, which goes on for over 2 hours generally, I featured this and gave a running commentary throughout my live stream, the Q&A, the questions and answers, and I had my specialist topic of FOMO, fear of missing out, and malt porn, which is a real thing in Scotch whisky circles. It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's bad enough. It can be quite addictive, to be honest. It's something that you need to be aware of. I will feature that actually in an extras later on in the year. So I've added 5 mils of water now. The nose is softer smoke, nice little almost charcoaly smoke, and chimney smoke. So a soft developing Bowmore style of smoke. So I'm talking the good Bowmores, not the generic stuff that's punted out to consumers these days. I know that sounds snobby. Do I care? No, I don't care. On with this review. Taste. Beautiful. Tangy. Sweet, sour, salt arrival of a magnificently bonded, intermeshing, advanced single malt with the cask. It's been expertly done, and this gives you a very unique experience, because for most of its life, this Inch Fad has been in a jobbing cask which is under-influenced and under-matured the whisky, which has meant its phenolic intensity has remained intact. You generally find this older Port Ellens. You know, if it had been coming from a first fill cask, it would be much more. It would be much less expressive, to be honest. But the previous cask has been understated. It's under-delivered maturation, but it's really settled down and given a certain intensity to the Inch Fad peated malt, keeping the strength of that peatiness. The finishing cask, for however long they did it, and frankly, they should be stating how long they've done it. Small independent bottlers need to provide transparency. They really do. But it has been beautifully brought together and bonded, the previous content with the new cask. The quality of the cask, so important. You're going to pick up on that immediately. This is a very good cask. It's elegant, it's clean, it's fresh, it's not been lying about, it's not gone sour. It's a banger cask. Fantastic cask. And it's basically, it's filled out the volume of this Inch Fad. And if you're a peat head, I can tell you right now, this isn't a cheap whisky. It's £130 a bottle in the UK. 16-year-old, single cask strength, single malt, right? But what you're getting is the equivalent of what other people are paying for it, twice the price for other branded options, particularly official bottlings. It's a delightful whisky, and furthermore, you don't just take my word for it. I mean, I'm simply giving you an opinion. You go on to your search engine, right? Whichever search engine you use, and you put in Inch Fad, Dramore, 16, followed by reviews. And then you get a range of reviews. And then at that point you decide, is it worth the money? And you follow through. I thought it was worth the money because I went into a specialist whisky shop and they offered me a taste. Taste and try before you buy. It works every time. When I tasted it, it immediately jumped out at me. What a great whisky this is. It's kind of expensive, but I'm going to buy it. And I did. And I'm glad I did, because it would be very easy for me to just go to the supermarket, travel retail, or a generic whisky shop and stick to the main recognised brands and not even touch these, because there's not a lot of this bottle out there. And quite a bit of it's already sold. But I need you, Maltmates, to put these types of bottles on your radar, so that when you're looking at the specialist online retailers in the UK, and it's the specialist retailers that stock the small independent bottlers, there you're going to find treasure. Sure, it's more expensive than it used to be, but that's inflation for you. That is the comprehensive devaluation of all the world currencies due to the fact that that's the way money works. It costs a bit, yeah, costs over £100. And I don't really like paying over £100 for a whisky. But when I tasted this, I bought it. And I'm delighted to be sharing the experience with you. It is one of these whiskies, because it's single cask, because it's cask strength, and because it's naturally delivered, despite the fact that they haven't disclosed it, which they should. Now it's naughty, and it bugs me. It really pisses me off, actually. And when I next see the folks, I'll tell them. But it's particularly good stuff. It's animated. There's theatre going on here. From the initial nose to my jaded old palate, which doesn't get that excited these days. You understand why. I mean, I've been at this game of whisky reviews for over 15 years. I've been into whisky for, we're heading up to 40 years now. So it takes a lot to surprise me and really delight me and make me kind of push the boat out a little bit. But this is doing that. And it's completely off the radar. No hype, no marketing, no buzz, no flannel. It's a discovery. It's one of these bottles you trip over in your travels. This is why when you're out buying whisky, you want to get yourself into the specialist whisky shop. You want to be part of the footfall. Don't completely rely on buying everything online, although that is convenient. The soft, fudgy, delicate, soft notes, the vanillas, the mild, gentle, complex toffee note, the delicacy of the sherry, the slight citrus to it, the aromatic nature to it. And behind it, you can just get that lovely, conditioned, matured waft of non-raw peat, which only appears after time. Big, soft, gentle, giant arrival. Cola, pineapple cubes, cherry linctus. Already it's becoming more and more complex. This is a sort of whisky that you pour a glass and it takes you all night to drink it. You don't finish it and then pour another one. You keep this by your side and you sip it every 15 minutes. It's a real slow burner. The development over that time is phenomenal. Particularly the peat composition of it is absolutely delightful. I better give this a mark because I'm starting to getting a little bit lyrical about this. It is, frankly, it's one of the most interesting whiskies that I've had in the last 6 months, without a doubt. 88. Now, I don't give these marks very often these days. 88 out of 100, it's a malt mark. I'm going to call it an integrity malt mark because you can see in that glass there's a little bit of mist starting to appear. It's soft, it's gentle, it's not happening particularly rapidly. It could be more, but it is there. All that needs to happen now with this brand is it simply gives more practical disclosure as to the provenance of what's in the bottle. Right here. Natural colour, unchill filtered. The length of time that the finishing cask has been engaged with the whisky. The name of the cask the whisky was first in. Probably ex-bourbon, second fill. That's my guess. But they have got the details because they've got the contract and it's written down when they bought the whisky. It's detailed. I know, because it has that in my casks. Because I've got a few. Just a few. Absolutely delightful. So rich, and there's a gingery, sweet, pickled ginger note coming in. And the mildest of banana infused with the peat. I'm going to stop there. I don't want to get too wrapped up in this. I'm done. It's lovely to see you. Hope you've enjoyed this review. If you pop back again for the extras, 1019 extras, I'm just going to do a side-by-side commentary about our evolution of our palate. The whiskies we start with and how we graduate to whiskies like this. You cannot start with this whisky when you're starting your whisky journey. You can't, because it overwhelms your palate. You need to do your apprenticeship. And I'm going to explain all that in the extras. See you soon, malt mates.